Okay, am I still? Yeah, I'm still in here, but weird. I really should be in this one frame, but oh, also not. Hey, June. Oh wait, hold on. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Yeah, you probably should. I'm actually trying to wrap up something here. I want to make a Google form so that people can drop suggestions for my new Splatoon name. And I'm wrapping that up on my end. Then I'm going to create a command for it. Should be fine. Now I want. Aha! There we go. Okay, so now I'm just going to create a command for it. I'm going to upgrade this. Add a command. It's going to be exclamation point form. There we go. And I updated that. So if I do this, cool, it creates the Google Doc. All right, so there you'll be able to vote, or I guess suggest what my new Splatoon name will be, which I can change on Monday. I won't be able to change it today, but that works. Now I'm gonna go back to this. Needs access? Oh, thank you, June. See, this is why I need you here, so I don't miss shit like this. I want to. I got it. Let's make a copy. No, I want to add collaborator. And I want to change it so that anyone with the link can access. I'm going to copy yours. I'm going to update it. Then I'm going to go back to. Yeah, anyone with the link. Yeah, true. I literally forget that like every time I make anything on Google. It's like, hey, I shared this. And it's like, we need access. And it's like, okay. But anyway, I can go back to my command, and then I can go to form, which is made, and I'm gonna update it. Okay, so I'm gonna do it again. June, you mind trying that one? Making sure that it works, please and thank you. Okay. Nice. So it is live. Also, you can vote on my new Splatoon name for the next month. It's not vote. I'm gonna say suggest. And then I'm going to post this everywhere in the next 30 seconds because that's how this works. All right, cool. All right, so I did that in the 4 seconds I needed to. Oh, this isn't even. This. Okay, I don't want to restart this. Alright, and that's my timer. Damn, that's my time? Give me a second. Going to exit and re-enter. See if my dude shows up. My dude doesn't show up. Either way, I'm gonna trade it over. There's something going on with my Fuji tech, I think. Go back to my sources just to make sure I have this right. Yeah, that's supposed to be me, but I'm not here. Make that disappear. Just gonna maybe log back into it. Game's a bit loud, for sure. I gotcha. Gonna turn you about there. Okay, this is saying that my dude is working. Like, I can talk and I can see it here, it's just not showing up here. That's so weird. Huh. I'm not sure what it is. Your dude might be working, but he might be invisible to us. Yeah, no, I'm checking it, and like I'm looking at it. It says like it's visible. Oh, there's a Splatfest. Holy shit. Hold on. Oh wait, never mind. I know about the Splatfest. This is Aliens, Loch Ness, and Bigfoot. That's right. I'm not gonna be here for this. That sucks, actually. Yeah, I'm probably gonna join Team. I'm gonna join Team Alien, I guess. But I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna be out of town, so it's gonna be a solo Splatfest for Teagues, I think. But also, I know that she. I have a work thing. That's where I'm gonna be. I gotta fly out and like leave town, and then go to the work thing, and it's gonna take all weekend. And so I'm not gonna be at my setup, and I'm probably gonna be working off of like hotel Wi-Fi. So like, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna take my my Switch. Yeah, right. That's so weird. Okay, hold on. I really don't know why. I'm gonna try cheating real quick. I'm gonna see if I edit it. And if I change it back. No, it still won't show up. That's so weird. Well, in any event. God. I really want my dude to be here. I'm not sure what to do about it at the moment. Sad alien lover? Does that fit? Like, that sounds a little long. Gone for a weekend? Gone for the weekend would be fun. I think that would be fun. I think I could probably chop that up into enough characters. That makes sense. God, maybe I just don't play with my dude today? I don't know. Either way, what I was planning to do today is actually play some ranked. Gone for a weekend? Yeah, then I can just chop up like the what's it called? Some of the letters just to see if it can fit. Yeah, I don't know why I can't get my guy to work right. In any event, I think I'm gonna... Oh wait, no, I gotta grab my shirt, my bad. I don't think I need to play in it for it to matter, but grabbing the shirt's important. I'm gonna do Team Aliens. Alright. And that way I can start picking up conch shells, because I can at least contribute to like the pre-week thing. I think that's fair. Okay. But yeah, I was gonna play some ranked, see if I can at least get closer to you know, on his Clam Blitz? God. Okay, I can play Clam Blitz. I know I can. That's fine. Meantime, What if I just try signing into the page? Oh shit. Right, there's an authenticator. I put this on an authenticator? There's no way. Oh, I did. Actually, it's right here. Authorize. Yeah, that's my dude. Right there. Then disappear read. Unlock. No. Yeah, I'll just check it later. Alright. Okay. Nice. This should be a ball. Got it. Right here. Damn it! I deserve that. Oh, we got another wipeout? Holy shit. They have a Nautilus out there? That's kind of embarrassing for them. This is a reset. Yeah, I didn't score any of that, but that's okay. I keep trading with Sips T. This is so gnarly. Bye, Sips T. Got him again. Oh my gosh. Like, I'm gonna trade with Sips T this whole game, apparently. I got another 6. Gamer. Bye. Thanks for playing. Gimme. Gimme. Oh, this one just breaks. I don't get any things for it. Bye, gamer. Bye, Big Jim. Okay, yeah, we got this, so I'm not worried about it, but it's just like... That's fine. Good. Yeah, I'm just gonna hold this for 15 seconds. Who cares? Oh, it's another wipeout? Oh my god. Maybe we can kill? Because I want the knockout. Ooh, I'm on my way. Yeah, we got the knockout. Last second. That's cool. Let's go. Oh, shit. Hey. Okay, that works, but... Yeah, right? Easy. You know what? I'm just gonna try adding it again. Just sticking with it. At least I'll get my shells. What if I just create a new one? It's another browser source. No, it just doesn't work. I feel like it's one of those things that like I'd need to close down like OBS for it. And I don't want to because it's going to kick me off the stream. And I don't want that to happen. That's fine, I guess. Because the address works. Like, if I put it into a browser, like, I can actually, like, look at it and it bounces and everything. But it's just, like, it's one of those things. I gotta turn it off and turn it on again. And I don't know what I did. Well, actually, I think I do know what I did. I did upgrade my, what's it called? My graphics card thing. My graphics card software. Just before stream. And, like, I knew that would help. I just didn't think it would kill this. It's fine? Okay. I'm not gonna worry about it anymore. Like, it's okay. Aw, Sips T's on my team? But this guy's garbage. I was smoking him the whole game. Jeez, how'd I know? Oh, Sips T's alive. Okay, never mind. Maybe Sips T's a killer. Oh, that was a slosher. Oh, Flingza? Okay, that's fair. The only thing I won't be able to tell if you mute yourself, yeah, that's fair. I get that. Oh. Kyoshi had the same idea I did. That's Flingza. I deserve that. I don't like jumping in like that. Oh, we broke the barrier? Alright, fine. And I'm gonna play defense and just clean this up. I'll take the like 20 points. Oh, there's... Goes up again. Oh my god, I'm bad. Got him! Got two. Oh, hold on. Good job, Dark Tetra. Stop dying to Flingza? Yeah, right. I did. I killed the Flingza that time, but, like, you know, the Tetra got me. That was so well done. Right, like they were so close. I let them think they could walk up, and then I just popped out and killed them. Ah! Ooh, good bomb. Let's go. Got one. Oh, man. I thought I had a ball. I fucked up. Oh, man. I thought I had a ball. That's on me. I, like, counted 7, and it was just like, oh, wait. No, it's supposed to be 8. There's one over there. Got him. You take those. Bye. Oh, good job. No, never mind. I got him. They got me, but I got them. That's fine. I don't see a lot of openings. Like, we are not cracking them open the way that we're supposed to be. Oh, I'm dead. I was in the middle of everything. Did they get this in? No, they don't. They don't. We can hold that one off. Five. This is 6. That's fine, I'll take that death. You can come back out. GG's. Real slow game, but we did it. Win's a win, you know? Hey, thanks for the follow.
Oh my God! What? Who is this man? Who is this?
Oh, the alert didn't come in. Aw. Well, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you hanging out. I hope you enjoy the stream. Yeah, that's what I get. I can't upgrade software just before stream. It was like 10 minutes before. But hey, this is an Impossible Coin stream. Octocrystalux. Nope, I heard the alert, but I didn't see it. Yeah, right? I also heard the alert, but like, it looks like my visuals are kind of like, playing a little funky on me. God. We're just gonna let it run today, honestly. Like, I can fix it on the next one. It's just a little banner. But welcome to the stream, Octocrys. I hope you have fun here. This is Splatoon Saturday. We do this every week. We play other stuff throughout the week. I mostly play RPGs and stuff. But I'm mixing it up. I'm gonna play Terra Nil next week. I'm very excited for it. We're also playing Octopath Traveler. Teagues is finishing up her... Is this series or open? This is series. And I'm just gonna... I think if I do well this series, I'll be okay. But, like, if you want to play, like, we could do some open. Like, I can take some solid 8s. I don't mind that. It's absolutely fine. I was just finishing up a series because I didn't have one done yet. Teague says she'll start to play some Breath of the Wild soon. Yeah. You'd be down for some open? Okay, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm just playing some because I'm not going to be able to be here for the Splatfest. I'm a little bummed about it. Do I have a pool? I don't have a pool. In fact, you know what? I'll probably make that today. Because that's also something that I've been meaning to do, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. Yeah, like it's basically it's like a group where you can have like a continuous like pool of people that will like join games and whatnot. What's like the pool name to be? Don't worry about it. I'll make it in a little bit. I just want to wrap up the series first because like it's something that I've been meaning to do specifically for this like weekly stream. I should probably just make it myself. Okay. Where are they? Ours is here, so that's... I want to protect this more than anything else. Blaster. Okay, they got him. Okay. Jesus. Okay. I have to respect blaster ranges. It's something I've been meaning to like practice against. But that's okay. We'll get there. Power space. I want to control this. There's a direct walkway up here. Oh, I burned my ult right as he killed me. Ah! Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll get it back. It'll just take a little bit. Our sniper is holding 7. Nice try. Damn it! Yeah, that's theirs. They score. They don't score! Let's go! Someone's still holding it. They're just like right there. That blaster's been encroaching on us this whole time. We can't be back bunched up here. Oh, okay. And that's Jet Squelcher. Good to know. Good. How do we advance here? Unfortunately, that was a good push. It was a good push. Like, they earned that one. Fuck. I should not be here. Yeah, I should not have been there. God damn it. I'm still getting the hang of this particular zone. They want to AoE us. You can't just be that close. It's just all there is. You can't be that close. God damn it. They kill me. Oh. That person's just there. Okay. Noted. Yeah, that's another score for them. Nope. They got a really good balance of aggro and defense. Yeah, that's true. I get that. Damn it. Well played. Hello.
Hello?
Who's that?
Hello?
Oh, hey, Brian.
Hi, hi, Rocky. I just woke up. And It's Saturday or Sunday?
Today is Saturday.
Today's not a recording day.
Not even a little bit. No worries, dude.
All right.
Bye, Brian. Oh, thanks for the clip, June. Jeez. Yeah, okay. That one was rough. I think we got caught up defending that one area. Maybe I should play the flank more. Oh! We had a DC! I mean, okay, fine. I'll take that. Sips T, the Nautilus player I was playing with before? Okay, fine. That's okay. Thank you for that. Movement's a lot different, like, without, like, dualies. Well, I guess sword movement is actually... Well, it can't just go in, though. I gotta think a bit more about gun movement. Outer edge is 75. How close do I need to be to get a kill? Let me see. Okay, so this is going to be right here, which should hit outside. That still kills. And if I throw closer to the center... Oh, it's on a timer. I didn't know it's on a timer. I play NZAP a lot. I started maining the NZAP 85, but tried the 89 for a bit. Once that came out, I found the 85 is a better support kit. Yeah, I get that. I feel like there is a specific use case for like the 89's like you know, like torrent of fake jumps. But I don't know what it's for yet. Like, I can't find something that really makes sense to me. But I thought it was interesting when it came out. Zones? I don't think so. Like, I think it can be useful in zones, but I haven't found a lot of success out of it yet. Oh, I'm dead. Yeah, that dually just ran up and killed 3. I've been doing well with 89 in zones for a bit. Okay, alright. I mean, I could see it, because, like, it's good coverage, you know? But I feel like it's pretty obvious. Maybe if, like, you've just pushed the team off or whatever. Like, a quick, like, Splat Zones coverage. But, like, I don't see how that's better than, say, something like Ink Strike, you know? What did I hit? A mine? No, Tri-Stringer? Okay. At least I died for it. Ooh. Oh my god. Oh, we already have a DC. Okay. I mean, I guess. I'm not gonna run it down, though. Let me see what we can get away with. I feel like I'm still losing a lot of one-on-ones. But I mean, they have a lot more pressure, but still. Oh shit, where are they? If you position the super chumps at the decoys land of the zone, you might be able to flank on an alternate route while the team's busy popping the decoys. I hear that. That makes sense. Oh my god. I'm not in 1v1s. Yeah, they're just all here. All 4 of them are here. If the alternate route isn't inked, even better. True. God, this is ridiculous. Because you might be able to seek on them without inking. Yeah, true. Damn it. Not one. Jesus. I should have just, like, armored through that, I think. Yeah, that's game. Ugh, well that was, awful. Yeah, that was rough. Early DC, what are you gonna do? Especially if they can't run it down. I mean, at least it doesn't count as a loss. I'm gonna disconnect from this group real quick. I'm 2-1 right now, and I have 2 DCs, so that shakes out okay, because otherwise my series would be over. I think I can still put together 5 wins, but like, because I do like Clan Blitz, like it makes sense to me. It's not like it's a bad game mode for me. I should try the left. Ooh. I'm quite the opposite? Okay. What's your favorite game mode, Chris? Not clams? Just anything but clams? Okay. I like Splat Zones. I think Splat Zones is cool. I don't know. I feel like clams make sense to me, you know? Okay, so I'm gonna try something else. They have a Bloblobber, so they could potentially try to lock us in one spot. I don't want to get caught there. Instead, I'm gonna try playing the flank. I'm back out. Good. Take that. I deserve that. That's fair. Tower's my second favorite. See, I don't like Tower. I hate Tower so much. I'll take that trade, though. That's bad. Okay, right. I can't be here. I'm playing the flank. Oh, that's what's on for open? Yeah, I know Tower's on for open. I mean, we can still play it. Like, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, it's not my game mode. Besides, I need to practice it anyhow. That's how you get better at it, you know? Jesus Christ. We're gonna get cooked. They're about to break it open again. I want this. Let's go. Come on, give us the lead. Let's go. Put him in. Let's go. One thing I can say about Tower, I'm listening. Oh, good triple. Nice lead. Yeah, right. You were saying about Tower. Oh, good sweep, everybody. Let's fucking go. Okay, Zipcaster. Going back. Fuck! I'm bad. Oh wait, someone got it in. That works for us. Let's go. Yeah, you were saying about Tower. Yeah, we take those. Bye. Sacrifice. Pull that back. Over here. Over here. Ooh, I don't want that. Back up. Back up. Ooh, got him again? Beautiful. Love it. Slow down. In here, just ink that. Ink over this away. Oh, I'm dead. I like Tower in zones. I don't like Clam. Rainmaker is hard for me too. Like, I think I like Rainmaker because it like rewards aggression, but like, you know, calculated aggression. Like a very like patient like rushdown. And then once you get it, like you can just like steamroll teams and like climb super fast. You know what I mean? Like it's like I think the worst part of Rainmaker is that you can lose in 30 seconds. But also, if you're smart, you can win in 30 seconds. And I think that's sick. I've had some really good games with the Rainmaker in possession. Yeah, right? Like, if I got the Rainmaker, like, y'all gotta watch out. Because I'm not gonna run in and die. I'm not gonna do that. In fact, I might cook your whole team with the Rainmaker. But like, you know, sometimes I watch people with the Rainmaker and they don't take the pads. Like they're not like looking, they're just running. And like that's annoying. That's not great, you know, because like there's a lot of people like suddenly they have the Rainmaker and they panic and it's just slow down. Watch the team. Make a move, you know? Ooh. Alright, so I'm 3-1 right now? Yeah, 3-1. That works. I can put together 2 more wins. That's something I can do. Ah, they DC'd. That's okay. Alright, let's get back in it. Alright. There we go. So I think you missed what I was saying about tower. Oh, there we go. Certain sub-weapons like suction bombs and auto bombs can be used to force people off tower, and a big bubbler can be used to help with a good push. Yes, those things make sense to me. And I get that. Like, I think one of the reasons I actually picked this one, like this this gun, because I don't normally use guns, but like this gun with like triple ink strike, and suction bomb is really good for say tower. But like, I expected it to be like a lot more. Hold on. Oh my god, Tri-Slasher? Fuck you. Do they have a ball? No, we have a ball. Okay. I'm going. I expect it to be a lot more dangerous with something, say, like with Kraken. And, like, I picked it, like, specifically for, like, counterplay for that. But I've also, like, not seen people use Kraken anymore. I guess they realized that, like, the weapons themselves, like, outside of the ult, aren't actually that powerful. And maybe they're, like, punishing, like, the startup of it a bit better? I don't know. Oh, there's another one. Hey, bud. Do we have a ball yet? Not yet. Oh my god, take the clam! It's fine. I got it. That Tri-Slosher on my right? No, it was a Splat Bomb I didn't see. Kraken leaves you so vulnerable after it runs out. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, so like they just wait it out instead of like trying to fight the Kraken, they just like space it out and then like blow it up afterward. I should have gotten that kill. Oh my lord. That makes sense. Like, you know, day one everyone like runs in and then they die and it's like, oh, it's Kraken, and they just back off. That makes a lot more sense. Because like honestly, that's how you fight like brushes in general, right? I'm losing this Tri-Slosher because I keep rushing in. I'm doing the exact wrong thing. Give me a second. Oh, hi. What? Jesus, where is everybody? Damn it! I deserve that. Come on, get the ball. There's our lead. There we go. Oh, I see what they're doing. One of their team is going aggro to camp and distract the other to collecting clams. Yeah, that makes sense. They're letting that one guy go ape shit. It would make more sense if we could just kill the aggro person, but apparently they're confident enough to like fight us. Got it. Okay, good. Oh my god. I should have thrown a bomb up there. I don't even know why I walked up. Close game. Okay, we can't let them push here. I think that's probably the smarter thing to do instead of going for points. Got it! 8 seconds. No, 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 I'm not there! Wait for the ball to go up. GG's! Oh, thank God. God, that was scary for a second. Thanks. Thanks, Chris. Alright. Number 1 clam stopper? I'll take that. $43.30. Nice job indeed. Yeah, right. 9 and 9? Oh my god. I'm not building a lot of ults though. I should probably maybe focus a bit more on that. I mean, I'm winning, but you know. Oh my god! You see this person with the squelchers? 23 and 6? That's crazy. That's fucking insane. Although, those are my guns, though. Yeah, 23 and 6. Man, okay, because I know, also, I think another thing that helps is that, like, the squelchers are also very good for, I mean, most game modes, honestly, but Clam Blitz, I think, specifically, because it has zone control and, like, the wave breaker, and then, like, long range, like, outright with the guns, and then also, like, Splat Bomb, which is just a solid sub-weapon. Like, I normally play, squelchers, but, like, squelchers are pretty strong in, like, every game mode. It's really nuts. Alright. Oh, Grindstone's back? Alright, cool. Let's do it. The Grindstone run back. Oh, they got 2 Tri-Sloshers. I deserve this. I'm gonna die. Yep, that's it. That's justice. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Grindstone. Holy shit. Where are they? Oh, they have a crab? Bye. Yeah, that's fair. Annoying, but fair. I'm at 6, 7. Damn it! I think that works. I'm not making that shot right, which is annoying. I'm gonna go for the re-break, see if we can get it. Nah, never mind. I didn't even get close. My aggression was not rewarded, turns out. Oh, okay, never mind. We put a ball over there. That works for me. I'm okay with that. Oh, did I get flanked? No, heavy splatling. They just pushed me out. I am not doing well. I'm gonna slow down. I'm gonna just build up an ult, meet them in mid, see what we get. Come on. It's like right there. There we go. Whoa, hold on. Okay, got 2 kills. On the back end of that thunder, that felt good. Do we have a ball? They have a ball. Where the hell are they? Oh no, their ball's like expiring. That works for me, actually. Bro, we don't have a ball. Okay, now we have a ball. I saw the arrow. Why didn't I just kill him? I would take that break. That's fine. But we don't get any follow-up off of it. Damn it! That's not good, actually. That's actually kind of bad. Honestly and truly. That's okay, they lose their ball. Fuck. Yeah, GG's. Okay. That wasn't me. That wasn't my game, but at least we won. We take those. #1 Turf Inker, Tegan will be proud. TSM. Oh, it's 5 wins. We did it. Up 244. Got another level up. We take those. Okay. Alright, so give me a second. I want to make a pool, right? So how do I do that? Let me get some stuff. That replay codes, Splatfest region. No. I can't edit this yet, right? Or I can't change the nickname yet. How do I make a pool? Where do I make them? L menu? Okay. Oh, join pool. There we go. We're just gonna call it Splatoon Saturday. Exclamation point. Oh, I can't use exclamation points? Fine. Oh, I can't use spaces. Nope, I also can't use exclamation points. Alright, that's fine. I create the pool. So now it's just like up, and that's it? Like people can search for the pool? Right? Is that the whole thing? And I'm just gonna go ahead and create the room. People can join your room if they share the same pool name with you. Okay, cool. Alright, then I'm just gonna sit there with tower control. June is in the pool. Let's go. Oh, you mean like to notify people? Yeah, that's fine. Oh, in your pool. Okay, okay, okay. Mako Mart and the new stage Umami Ruins. Damn, I haven't played a single match on Umami Ruins. Well, that's okay. I don't think I'm switching off this gear. This gear is fine. Like, I do need to redo it because it's gibberish, sorta, but like it works for what I've been doing. I do need to redo it. Splatoon Saturday is the pool name? Yeah. Splatoon Saturday, that's it. Oh, that reminds me. I've been here for about an hour, so I do want to remind anyone that's here that you can vote for the next, my next Splatoon name using this form. You can also pull it up by just pressing exclamation point form, and it will post the link for you to access. So, you know, if you're interested, just jump in whenever you want to. And we're gonna get back into Splatoon. June, you gotta ready up, though. June! June! June, you must ready yourself. I have to pick an outfit! Oh my gosh. Okay, fine. Pick your outfit. Yeah, those were all too deep. Oh, there we go. Now we can go. Oh, snap. June, are you bringing the Kraken? Is that what's happening here? Or, wait. Or is it... No, it doesn't have, like, the crack on, like, symbol, right? So that's probably not it? Not the Kraken. Okay, okay, okay. It's the base roller? It's the roller? The splat roller? Okay, new map. I can only play like 1 or 2 games, I hear that. With shield for tower. True, true, true. Sword? Okay. Oh, I lied. I've played Hero exactly once, actually. Got him. Damn it, I didn't throw down the third one. Ooh, good shield, June. Love that. Going for the flank. Cornered. Got it. Checkpoint 2. A little too deep for them. That's okay. We'll punish them for it. June, you will be avenged! GG's! Easy. Yeah, right? You take those. Alright, one more game after this for sure. What are they gonna do? Break it? Yeah, right? Oh man, June, I gotta show you this One Piece character. He's a barrier man. His name is Bartolomeo. He looks like a hoodlum. He kind of is a hoodlum. It's kind of fine. But he apparently just makes barriers that are unbreakable. As long as he can cross his fingers. If he can cross his fingers, he can make a barrier that nothing can break. Oh no, yeah, right? Isn't it so silly? But like that's all like I mean he's like, you know, found adaptations for it. Like he's turned the barriers into like stairs. And he can make like really big ones, apparently. But yeah, that's his thing. Like he creates barriers and for like I think one of his combat techniques is that he just like makes a barrier around his fist. Yeah, like sounds like the guy who uses infinite space between him to never get hit. Yeah, Gojo. Gojo's popular with the ladies, though. I don't know if Bartolomeo got, like, stands like that. I mean, I'm sure he's got fans, but it's not like Gojo. Like, Gojo's stands are wild. Okay, Mako Mart, I know. I don't know why you thought you could do this. Woo! That was close. Move. Great wipeout. Let's fucking go. Hold on. Push them back. Love that for us. Still on it, June. I gotcha. That one's me, though. Ah! I deserve that. That's fine. Did you get out of this? I don't know. Gotta move the sniper. Good. We're fine. Jesus. Okay, checkpoint 2, that works. I'm gonna build up my ult one more time. We should be able to push him off. One big push and we're good. Oh, I got sandwiched! Damn it! Well played. We're okay. Slow down. Catch him at a checkpoint. Bunch of auto bombs, Jesus. Not good enough. Swordsman got in. Got another one. So close. I'm inking ahead. I'm not going for the tower right now. Not good enough. Not good enough. I pulled them away, so we should get the tower. Jump into Johnny. Johnny, don't get into fights. Fucking Johnny, come on! Whatever, it's fine. Benji's pretty good. I can't get that mad at them. 15, 35 seconds? Okay, okay. We can just hold here. We don't need to go full aggression. The knockout would be nice, but you know, if we don't get it, that's not gonna kill us. Good chop. Good chop. Gotcha, Patroclus. One. We need the tower. Thank you. That scope, though, the scope is good. You know? But we got it. It's okay. We just had to pull back at the end. No knockout. It's not the worst thing. Too bad I can't play much more, but I'll be back later. For sure. We usually do this for a handful of hours every Saturday. God, I died a lot. Yeah, thanks for playing, Chris. I died a lot, actually. But it's also tower control. It's not a big deal. If you're on the tower, you're probably gonna die a lot. You died more than me, that's true. That's okay, we were holding the tower. We did what we were supposed to. I shielded that tower so good? Yeah, you did. If you want, you can pin that. You can pin that our pool. Oh, sloshing machine? Jesus, I can't be that close. Not to a fucking sloshing machine. But damn it. I'm in danger. They knew I was there. Ah, this is bad. Oh, we have a DC. Woo! Still survived that. Let's go. I'm on my way, June. Yep, that's fair. Oh, there were two of them? They were just there? Holy shit. Oh, yeah, GG's. That's fine. Whatever. We had a DC. Yeah, what are you gonna do? Alright. Alright, I'm gonna play it by the book this time. Okay, June. Shit. I deserve that. That's fair. Oh, okay. Well... yeah, that was over. Unfortunate. Okay, I'm done playing losing ranked. Okay. Does that mean that, like, you're done playing, or are you, like, switching, like, your gear or something? What's going on here, June? I guess I'm asking if I should re-up or not. I mean, I want to play tower control? Okay, that's fair. Then let me just do another series. And then afterward, we could probably go do, what's the thing? The PvE thing. No plating sequence. Salmon Run. That's what it's called. The thing, love that thing. Yeah, it's Salmon Run. We can do Salmon Run, but I'm gonna do one more series, I think. Because I'm pretty sure, yeah, like, if I do one more series, like, I'll make it into, B+ on, like, superlatives alone. Right, because I'm B rank right now, right? Yeah, I'm B rank. Yeah, so I'll make it B+ based on superlatives alone. There we go. Alright, so now... Oh, gosh. Every time I, like, pull it, like, it's just like, oh, wait, time to fight. Alright, Clam Blitz. Here we go. Okay, hold on. Push them back. Ooh, we just absorb that? Oh god! Well played. I'm gonna walk back up. I don't trust where any of them are fighting right now. Oh my god, I actually dove right into that? Into my death? That's lame. At least they died, but Jesus. Okay, we have a ball. Okay. I'm gonna grab... Oh, I guess not those. I'll be able to make a ball out of these. I have 7, I need one more. Ooh, force us in on the numbers. Broken. Yeah, it's fine. C2 is a good pull. I like that. Oh, I got fled by the Autobomb? Not even an actual kill? That's crazy. Alright. Build up another ult. There we go. Up we go. Got tie. Okay, I guess they didn't want that one. Oh fuck. Oh, that AoE still hit me? One more series is 5 battles. It can be up to 7. So it's either we lose 3 or we win 5. So like the worst case scenario, my record is 4-3 or 5-2 rather. So like it's max 7 games, but it can be anywhere between 5 and anything between 3 and 7. If I just lose 3 times in a row, I'm out. But you know. Bye. I should have ulted. I should have ulted, but I did not. I did not believe, and that's on me. Any follow-up? Excellent news. No knockout. Or did we get the knockout? I hope we got the knockout. I hope we got the knockout because it's more points for us. Knockout! Let's go! I only got 1 gray off of it though. I didn't do that well. I gotta do better. Because you need the what's it called? The medals to really like supplement your points. Because like every gold one's an extra 5 points. Every silver's like 1. But you get like 5, 10 something for winning. I can't remember. But like, you know, you need superlatives to make sure that you can still progress even if like your team's losing. But I guess if you're winning the whole time, it's less important, but you know. Too deep. I'm overthrowing them. Okay. The arc on these are weird. Also, one thing that I'm underestimating is because, like, the reach is so far on this, the best way to ink is not to let the end of your ink, like, splatter at the end, because you don't get a big circle, you just get a line. You actually want to push up to the edge of the ink line, and then, like, shoot forward. Which is dangerous. I can see why, like, Teeks has, like, trouble, like, with this gun sometimes, because, like, she's pushing in too deep just to continue inking. That makes sense. Fuck. Ah, damn it. It's always a blaster. It's not always a blaster, but like sometimes it's a blaster. It's a blaster more than I'm proud of. I gotta get that sniper. Oh, sniper's off the perch. That works. Yeah, sure. Let's see what you do about that, huh? Oh shit, the sniper get me? Yeah, that's fair. Jesus. They die next to their own thing, who cares? Oh fuck, that's a score. No follow-ups, no follow-ups, no follow-ups. Okay. They got the ball for the recover. Let's go. We take those. Good stuff. I love how that brush like kind of swooped in right behind the person who just died, just to like, you know, confirm the points. That's good stuff. Oh shit, are they here? Almost. Nope. That's a score for them. They did that right. Holy shit, that's so good. That hammer tech was so good, actually. Oh fuck, did we lose? No, they don't have any more to score with. That was so sick, actually, because they're just like, oh, now we have the ball. And then they just rush up immediately. And then they kill everyone, and then they score. Too slow. What? Aw, oh, damn! I'm too slow. They got me! They literally popped it right before I popped it. Okay. What's the move here? Got it. Good trade. God damn it. They break? Do they kill? Oh my god. They still the hammer? Yeah, no, GG's. Well fucking played. Holy shit. That's wild. Okay. Oh. We had a DC? I didn't even notice. Or did they just like quit at the end, like the last minute or so? You know what? I'm gonna switch back to my normal setup. I'm gonna go back to sculptures that I normally use. Yeah, this is the set I'm using. I'm still 1-0 in the series. I guess because a lot of people DC, you know? That's fine, I guess. Hammers seem so harsh. It's pretty gnarly, right? Because like they're hard to kill, but like if they're coming at you, all you can do is move laterally because they can't turn well, right? But the thing is, if like you're in a corridor and they're rushing you, your only chance is to try to kill them before they hit you. And I think they have a bit of armor. I mean, it's not like infinite. I can't remember how much it is, but like it's significant. You can't just blow it off. But like a good hammer, like that patient hammer, because what they did is that they got the ball and then they ran like right in front of the goal and then they just rushed us, like because we went to defend and now we're all in the exact like situation where they can kill all of us and then they just sweep us and then go score. That was really well executed. It's a very smart hammer. Oh shit. Come on, you can't fall for those. Oh, they had a DC. Maybe after your series before Tease gets in, you can refresh OBS and get your chat and avatar on screen. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I'm going to do it at the top of the hour, and then I'll just, like, reset it. No worries. Especially since we're getting all these DCs anyways, you know? The fire rate's slower on Squelchers. But again, like, you can shoot from the moon, which is nice. Let me see. I think I'd like to practice getting better at shooting stuff that's above me. That takes a bit of time, I think. Alright, here we go, the run back. Okay, I definitely do want to play flank on this one. Ooh. Good shot, sniper. Oh my god, there's two of them waiting right here. Not a safe fight here, sniper. Damn with this blaster. Yeah, shit. I gotta close up. Nope. Oh no. Jesus. The only weapon for the first few level... Okay, so when Tegan and I were practicing Salmon, I tried that Smurf account, right? And the only weapon for the first few levels is the Splatter Shot Junior. And I had so much fun when I picked it up, and now I'm using it to great success. Splat bombs are no fucking jokes. You toss those out in front and they come up in front. Yeah, right? Because they have to try to push forward because it rolls. Hey, Demon. Nice to see ya. Welcome to the stream. kind of having a rough not salmon run, clam blitz experience at the moment. We have time to come back, I think. We just gotta play smart, slow things down. Kraken? Why Kraken? No one protected the Kraken! Oh, we have a ball. Okay, I'm on my way. Please score something while I'm not there. Ugh. I'm just getting like return points. Oh shit. Oh man, now we're getting knocked out. Jeez, that's so gnarly. That one was not clean. Not a good game. Definitely filthy. Ugh, just absolutely vile. What am I supposed to do there? Well, not die as much. Jesus. Okay. I'm gonna try it again. I gotta find the advance. I think that's the major thing that I messed up. Like, I wasn't able to, like, push forward at all. Okay. Wait, a bamboozler for real? Holy shit. Got him. Did he just advance up enough to hit me? Jesus Christ, that's so wild. Okay. Okay, both of them have balls? Why are they down there? No, they have 3 each. Oh my god. I, like, rolled, and I really should have just jumped. Yeah. Jesus. Okay. I'm gonna try leading this attack, see what we get. Okay, follow the hammer. Nope, hammer dies. And no one's behind us. Oh my god. Oh my god. Nope, don't just... Okay, that's fine. It's a bamboozler, so it doesn't get extended range. Ugh! Get cornered, push through. Okay, they have a hammer, they have a ball. They're not going in. Okay. I mean, I guess. Okay, man, I don't know what we're doing here. Like, I don't know what our move is. Okay. Let's take the lead. Doesn't that sound like fun? No one can get there. Your move is to win? Yeah, you're right. Did you see that? It gave us an extra point! The game said, fuck you! No overtime! Oh my god! I didn't know it did that! Like, we both got 80, and then, like, it went up. It was like, oh, wait, these were the second team? Never mind, it goes back up, 81. And it's like, fuck off! Oh, that's so nasty. That's fucking ridiculous. But I think I need an ult that actually gets me a shit ton of ink, cause like I'm not able to push forward with Wavebreaker unless there's already ink in front of us. And apparently, like, I'm the only one inking. Like, I don't know what that's about. But I might just lose this, so who knows? We'll see. Dog, I had 1209 ink. That's so goofy. Although, do you see this bamboozler with the quadratic formula as their like as like their name or whatever? They went 16-3 in that game. That's actually super crazy. Apparently bamboozler slaps. Argue with your mother. Although I think the Bamboozler is a good sniper, to be honest, because like now that I realize what you're able to do, because like it doesn't extend its range. Once you learn like how far it shoots, you're actually really dangerous. Okay, yeah, sure. That's fine. We take our 80. I'm just gonna build another ult. Oh my god, they have 2? I'm just gonna go grab the ball. That's bad. Oh my god. No, I think we're just gonna lose this one. This is insane. Oh my god. Yeah, no, this is over. This is so fucking ridiculous. They're like pushing forward and someone's just scoring behind them. Oh my god. Got him. See? Just like that. What did I get hit by? Busy bomb? Busy bomb. Hey, welcome back, Chris. I thought you were at work. Don't I leave work till 4:30? Okay, for sure. Yeah, no. GG, actually. Dear lord. Oh, for sure. It's actually a while. Knockout? Yep, that's fair. While I lost that series, I'm actually gonna refresh my stream stuff and then maybe play some Salmon around. What's on the rotation right now? Does anyone know? Yeah, see, like, that wasn't me. Holy shit. I paid 70 now. 2 gals, Octobrush, Nozzle Hose? Or Nozzle Nose? Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. I'm not a fan of the rotation last time I checked. It's 2 gals, Octobrush, and Nozzle Nose. Okay. On spawning grounds, those should be fine. I can play that. I'm gonna refresh my stream stuff, so I'm gonna stop for like a second, and then I'll just refresh it and come back. Be right back. Talk to you all soon.